My story begins almost 7 years ago. I would love to tell you that it's a light-hearted story with the cliched happy ending, but it's not. It's a story that's hard to listen to imagine what it was like living through, and even harder to share with complete strangers. Imagine a tall, dark-haired, lanky man, the average family man with a wife and 3 young kids. He's walking into a neurologist's office, expecting the latest diagnosis of another variant of depressive disorder. About an hour later, however, he walks out with very different news. He has early onset Alzheimer's disease, the same disease that claimed his mother in her early 50s and that presently eats away at his youngest brother. He was told he would have at least 10 years before he got really bad, just enough time to see his 3 kids grow up. Told that he would have time to live, time to remember, time to think. Told that the memory loss would take years to fully progress, he'd have time, but he didn't have time. Almost 3 years after the diagnosis, he died, 44 years old, but resembling a 90-year-old man. Emaciated and wasted by the disease ravaging his brain, dark hair turned gray, he looked more like someone's grandfather than a man with 3 children under 15. 3 years was all it took to completely erase his life from his memory. His hopes, his dreams, his family, all gone, completely vanished from his mind. Nothing left but emptiness. To say the least, those 3 years were very difficult for my family. I was very close with my dad when I was younger. He was my hero, my confidant, my best friend. He was the best storyteller I've ever come across, and he was an amazing artist, and he had a special gift with animals that I happened to inherit. Every day, the 2 of us would take walks around the corner to the barn to feed the horses carrots. It was on these walks that he taught me about life. He taught me to never let anyone tell me that I couldn't do something that I set my mind to, because they were always wrong in the end. And he also taught me that love is the greatest gift you can give someone. But then things changed. He began to change. Our walks around the corner became infrequent, and I usually wound up going alone. He became frustrated and short-tempered, completely erasing the kind, patient man who would spend hours chasing my siblings and myself around the backyard. He began generalizing us, never saying our names aloud for fear of getting them wrong. And on one memorable occasion, at dinner one night, he held up a spoon and asked what it was. We told him, and then he asked what you did with it. We again told him, and he said, "Oh, okay." And then he started eating with the wrong end. He had 3 years. 3 years of wasting away to a shell of his former self. 3 years of losing everything he loved and remembered. We had 3 years of watching him struggle to remember who we were. And that was the hardest part, knowing that there was nothing we could do and being completely helpless to stop it. A few days before he died, I sat with him, rehashing all the memories we had together as a family before he got sick. I remember telling him that I was still stubbornly adamant to everyone who didn't believe me that I would become a veterinarian one day, when he suddenly woke up. He looked up at me and simply stated, "I love you." 3 little words said countless times during a lifetime. Said very simply, without adornment, for the first and last time in 3 years. Insignificant to some, to me those 3 words meant the world because they gave me my dad back. I've shared the story of my father to a number of people over the years, and every time I'm asked how old he was. People assume that since he had Alzheimer's, he must have been at least late 50s or early 60s. I'm always greeted with shocked silence when I say he was diagnosed at 41. One memorable occasion, I was even vehemently argued with that obviously the neurologist was wrong because Alzheimer's is a dementia-related disorder, and therefore, logically, it should only affect those over 65. Well, the face of Alzheimer's is changing. It's becoming more and more prominent in younger families. To most, my family's experience with Alzheimer's is tragic, but novel. Assumptions that Alzheimer's disease is only affecting older generations are completely wrong. It can and does affect younger generations like my father and my uncle. Something needs to be done for Alzheimer's research, and it needs to be done now. Otherwise, stories like mine won't be so novel anymore.